Welcome to my Chanel Most Worth Coins. WC Today. Videos is one you won't to miss. We're diving into the world of coins. So let's get it started. The 1982 United States quarter dollar, more commonly referred to as the Washington quarter, represents a key year in modern American coinage, standing at the crossroads between traditional minting practices and a shift in U.S. mint policy that would greatly influence how coins were perceived, collected, and circulated for decades to come. At the heart of this coin lies the enduring image of George Washington, the first president of the United States, whose bust graces the obverse of the quarter. A design originally sculpted by John Flanagan in 1932 to commemorate Washington's 200th birthday. The coin reads Liberty at the top of the obverse, with the motto, "In God We Trust," to the left of Washington's bust, and the date 1982, positioned just below his profile. On the reverse, the coin features the iconic eagle with outspread wings, clutching a bundle of arrows, symbolizing strength and readiness for war, while encircled by olive branches, denoting peace. This reverse design had remained largely unchanged since its introduction in 1932, a tribute to the classical style of American coinage during that era. The reverse includes United States of America across the top, the national motto E pluribus unum just above the eagle's head, and quarter dollar at the bottom. The 1982 quarter marks a critical transitional point, primarily because it was the first year since 1964 that the U.S. Mint did not produce mint sets for collectors. As a result, the coins from this year entered circulation exclusively through regular banking channels, and no special collector-grade uncirculated coins were made available in government-issued sets. This absence of uncirculated mint sets significantly affected the condition and availability of high-grade 1982 quarters, especially those with strong strikes and minimal circulation wear. As a result, well-preserved specimens from 1982 are considerably harder to find compared to other modern quarters, which increases their appeal and market value among numismatists, particularly in Mint State 65, MS 65, or better condition. Compounding. The coin's significance are the two major varieties produced in 1982, the Philadelphia Mint coins, which bear no mint mark, and the Denver Mint coins, which carry a small D mint mark on the obverse just to the right of Washington's. Ponytail. These varieties allow collectors to differentiate and seek both mint versions. The Philadelphia Mint struck 500,931,000 quarters in 1982, while the Denver Mint produced 480,42,788. While these numbers might seem vast, they are somewhat lower compared to surrounding years and become even more noteworthy, given that many of these coins saw heavy circulation, meaning they were used daily for transactions, suffered scratches, dings, and general wear, making high-quality survivors relatively scarce. Importantly, San Francisco did not produce any quarters for circulation in 1982, as the San Francisco Mint was at that time limited to producing proof coins for collectors, and no proof sets were released for that year due to budget cuts and changing policies. As a result, there are no 1982 quarters. Another noteworthy aspect of the 1982 quarter is the overall quality of the strike. Due to worn dies and rushed production, many 1982 quarters, especially those from Philadelphia, display weaker strikes, softer details, and sometimes even planche quality issues. Collectors often look for sharp examples where Washington's hair and the eagle's feathers are well defined, making such specimens far more desirable. In terms of composition, the 1982 Washington quarter continued the clad coinage tradition. That began in 1965. It was struck on a copper-nickel-clad planche, consisting of an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to an inner core of pure copper. This gave the coin a total weight of 5.67 grams, a diameter of 24.26 millimeters, and a reeded edge. These specifications had replaced the pre-1965 90% silver quarters, aligning with the U.S. Mint's move to more cost-effective and wear-resistant materials suitable for mass circulation. Even though they lack silver content, clad quarters from the early 1980s are now considered collectible due to condition rarity and the absence of Mint-issued uncirculated sets for the years 1982 and 1983. One of the most talked about numismatic features of 1982 quarters is the presence of varieties and errors, most famously the no mint set premium and several known double dies and off-center strikes. While double die, obverse, or reverse coins are not as prolific as in some earlier decades, the few discovered from 1982 have captured collectors' imaginations. Additionally, minor die cracks, clashed dies, and off-center strikes can sometimes appear on 1982 quarters due to the high-volume, high-speed production methods used at the time. These errors, depending on their severity and visibility, can command significant premiums. The overall scarcity of uncirculated examples has also resulted in a situation where even a common-looking 1982 quarter in pristine condition can fetch $10 to $50 or more from eager collectors, particularly for MS-65 and higher grades certified by PCGS or NGC. In fact, registry collectors, those seeking the finest known examples for competitive display, have paid hundreds of dollars for top population coins graded MS-67 or above. Adding further historical importance, 1982 was a time of economic uncertainty in the United States, with lingering inflation, recession recovery, and shifts in federal monetary policy under the Reagan administration. Coins from this period carry with them a historical weight, reminding us of a transformative era in American fiscal and political life. The Washington quarter itself would undergo a dramatic redesign just 17 years later, in 1999, with the launch of the 50-state quarters program, which replaced the eagle reverse with rotating state-themed designs, a monumental shift that reinvigorated public interest in coin collecting. But the 1982 quarter, with its traditional design and unique status as a year of limited uncirculated availability, remains one of the last purely circulated issues of the classic eagle reverse era. In summary, the 1982 Washington quarter may appear commonplace at first glance, but its historical significance, absence from official mint sets, relative scarcity in high grades, and its position at a turning point in U.S. coinage history all contribute to its growing numismatic value. For collectors and enthusiasts alike, especially those with an eye for modern clad rarities, the 1982 quarter represents a fascinating and often underappreciated treasure of American coinage. A quiet icon that, despite billions minted, now challenges us to find one in true pristine form. The 1983 United States quarter dollar, part of the iconic Washington quarter series, stands out not only for its historical context and design legacy, but also for its numismatic importance due to minting practices during a transitional period in U.S. coinage history. On its obverse, the 1983 quarter features the enduring and stately portrait of George Washington, the first president of the United States, facing left. This image, originally sculpted by John Flanagan in 1932 to mark the bicentennial of Washington's birth, remained the standard design for decades. Above Washington's head is the bold "Liberty," while the national motto, "In God We Trust," appears just to the left of his neck. Below the bust is the date 1983, and if struck at the Denver Mint, a small D mint mark appears to the right of Washington's ponytail. Coins minted in Philadelphia bear no mint mark, a tradition that lasted until 1980 when the P mint mark was introduced, but not for quarters until 1983, making 1983 P the first Philadelphia minted quarter to carry a P mint mark on its obverse. The reverse of the coin carries the classic image of an eagle with wings spread wide, perched upon a bundle of arrows with olive branches underneath symbolizing peace. Encircling the design are the United States of America at the top and quarter dollar at the bottom with the motto E pluribus unum appearing above the eagle's head. What makes the 1983 Washington quarter especially important to collectors and historians alike is its status as part of a two-year gap, 1982-1983, in which the U.S. Mint did not produce official mint sets for collectors. This decision was driven largely by budget constraints and shifting mint priorities in the early years of the Reagan administration. Consequently, unlike most modern coins, which are distributed in both circulation and special collector sets, 1983 quarters were only made for circulation, entering the public through banks, stores, and everyday commerce. This means that nearly all 1983 quarters spent time in pockets, registers, and purses, accumulating wear, dings, and abrasions. The lack of mint sets from this year has made finding well-preserved, high-grade 1983 quarters especially challenging, and any example in Mint State 65, MS 65, or better condition is considered a genuine prize by collectors. This scarcity is not due to a low mintage. Indeed, more than 1.1 billion 1983 quarters were struck, but because nearly all were used in circulation, and pristine examples were never set aside in government-issued, uncirculated sets. Specifically, the Philadelphia Mint produced 673,535,000 quarters with a P mint mark, and the Denver Mint struck 607,806,246 quarters with a D mint mark. There were no 1983 S quarters minted for circulation or proof sets that year, continuing the pause in official collector production. This decision by the Mint, while seemingly insignificant at the time, has made 1983 quarters a fascinating study in how mintage policy can affect modern coin values. Collectors looking for examples with full detail and clean fields often face frustration, as many 1983 quarters, particularly from Philadelphia, suffer from weak strikes, bag marks, and planchet flaws, partly due to overuse of dies and the high-speed minting process of the early 1980s. The quality control of this period was not always rigorous, especially for coins intended strictly for circulation. As a result, finding a 1983 P quarter in exceptional uncirculated condition, with crisp detail in Washington's hair and the eagle's feathers, has become a challenge that enhances its collectible value. For this reason, top-grade examples, certified by PCGS or NGC, can fetch prices ranging from $30 to several $100s, depending on grade and strike quality. In fact, registry-quality pieces graded MS67 or higher have sold for over $1,000 at auction, with demand driven by both scarcity and competitive collectors seeking top population coins. Adding to the intrigue of the 1983 quarter is the presence of notable varieties and error coins that have surfaced over the years. The most famous is arguably the 1983 P quarter struck on a copper cent planchet, an error in which the coin was mistakenly struck on a 1-cent copper blank, weighing approximately 3.1 grams instead of the normal 5.67 grams. These rare off-metal errors can command thousands of dollars depending on condition. Other known errors include off-center strikes, clipped planchets, and die breaks, as well as a few minor double-die examples, which are always of interest to error collectors. While these errors were never widespread, their occurrence reflects the sheer volume and speed of coin production at the time and enhances the overall appeal of 1983 quarters for specialists in U.S. errors and varieties. Composition-wise, the 1983 quarter continued the post-1965 copper-nickel-clad standard that was introduced to replace 90% silver coins in the wake of rising silver prices. The coin's outer layers consist of a mix of 75% copper and 25% nickel, bonded to an inner core of pure copper. This gives the coin its standard specifications: a weight of 5.67 grams, a diameter of 24.26 millimeters, and a thickness of approximately 1.75 millimeters with a reeded edge. Though not composed of precious metals, the copper-nickel-clad alloy has proven durable and well-suited to the wear and tear of circulation. Nonetheless, high-grade clad quarters from the 1980s are beginning to achieve newfound respect in the numismatic community as many collectors realize how rare pristine examples have become, particularly in light of changes in mint set production and storage habits of the general public. From a historical perspective, the early 1980s marked a turbulent time in the American economy, characterized by high unemployment, inflation, and shifts in fiscal policy under President Ronald Reagan. These broader economic conditions shaped how people interacted with money. Coins were used heavily, and few people thought to set aside new quarters unless they had a numismatic background. The 1983 quarter, in that sense, is a tangible relic of that era, bearing the marks, both literal and metaphorical, of a country striving for economic recovery and a renewed national identity. Moreover, this year falls just before the rise of modern commemorative coin programs, such as the 1986 Statue of Liberty coins and the later 1999 50-state quarters program, which would transform how Americans engaged with pocket change. In terms of legacy, the 1983 Washington quarter marks one of the last years of the classic eagle reverse design before the dramatic aesthetic overhaul of the late 1990s. It is a coin that bridges the old and the new, rooted in the traditions of American numismatic art, yet shaped by the realities of modern minting and distribution. For this reason, both the 1982 and 1983 quarters have achieved something of a cult status among modern U.S. coin collectors. They are no longer dismissed as common-clad coins, but appreciated for their unique historical and collector context. The fact that even worn 1983 quarters can still be found in circulation today serves as a reminder of their durability. Yet those few that exist in mint-fresh condition have become rare and valuable witnesses to a moment in U.S. coinage history, when mint sets were absent and only circulation coins told the story.